They help to deflate the ozone layer. I will notice here that this zone is not too far from the Earth.
The Global Initiative for Food Security and Ecosystem Preservation, an NGO, has called on traditional and religious leaders to encourage their members to create effective awareness on impact of climate change in the country. Executive Director of the NGO made the call at a book launch titled Understanding Climate Change, a Guide for Schools in Nigeria and Capacity Building of Schools on Climate Change in Abuja.
You know how our people respect our traditional institutions and pastors and religious leaders in this country. So imagine one of them coming up to speak on this issue. It will go a long way, very long way, in stepping down this climate change awareness everywhere. So we need to continue. No amount of awareness is enough or is too much. So in your own local way, start from your family, from your home, anywhere you are, meetings, all the ways. The aim of the exhibition is to allow the children themselves to look at these issues they are feeling and come up with their own ideas, their own thinking on best ways of solving the problem.
Mrs. Ibironke Olubamise, the National Coordinator, Global Environmental Facilities and Small Grants Programs, said the program was designed to empower students on the impact of climate change.
Today we are making another milestone in our efforts to create environmental champions, to empower students to be able to understand what climate change and environmental degradation is and what they can do to address it. Of course, the idea is that they are the future leaders, and so if they get the idea from now, then it is easier for them to incorporate the environmental issues into their decisions when they take up leadership roles in the future.
Mr. Richard Nzeku, a climate change specialist who previewed the book, said it would support the government's effort and programs to address climate change challenges.
It is a book that is not just meant for your examination or for just knowledge. It goes beyond that. But if you go to the glossary, which I saw is very well articulated, if you begin your read from that point, perhaps you will be able to understand the book better. If you take a little more interest on the agricultural aspect of climate change, certainly this country will benefit. Some of these are written or documented in chapter 4 and 5 of this book.
Chidiebere Aja from Government Secondary School Gwagwa, one of the students who presented a project on how human activities affect the environment, called on Nigerians to avoid such activities that could damage the environment.
Like how the organization said that tree planting is an important aspect for climate change. When we plant trees all our surrounding, it makes our air fresh. A person will always love to relax under shade of tree because the air under that climate is all fresh. So when we plant trees, there are places that we all can all stay, and the environment is fresher and cleaner.
Ms. Amarachi Igwe from Government Secondary School Nyanya urged the government to collaborate with other relevant stakeholders to effectively address environmental issues in the country.
My advice to government is that they should try to use so many mediums in order to combat climate change. They should enforce laws that are able to be favorable to the environment, and then they should try to make things more easier, because if you find out now, gas is very expensive and we have no other choice than to go back into felling of trees and converting them to use them as fuel, use them as charcoal and use them as wood. If only the economy is favorable, we won't go back to felling of trees.
We are green champions!